Hi guys. Excuse me. Well, I thought I started a video a minute ago. I was going to show you this concoction I'm creating for our lunch today, but I'm not sure I ever did. I'm not sure I ever started the camera, but I'm going to try to do this without the tripod, so it's probably going to be kind of shaky and disorganized and probably messy, me trying to cook with one hand. I made a pot roast a couple days ago, and we had quite a bit of leftovers. And I decided this morning, it popped in my head, I'm just going to try to create lunch from these leftovers. Actually, it was a Mississippi pot roast. If you've never had that, you'll have to look up the recipe and try it because it's become my favorite. What I have here in my pot, I didn't have any beef broth. All I had was, let me go. Well, what did I do with the box? I'm having some back issues today, so I'm not bending well. I had a box of 32 ounces of chicken broth. It'll be okay, I promise. I know, chicken and beef, two totally different things, but it doesn't matter. I think you just want the richness of the broth over water, but I put the broth in my pot, and I had a little bit of this better than bouillon beef stock left. I put it in, kind of beef up the flavor, and I put 6 cups of water, and I'm heating this up, and in it I took my leftover pot roast, I just chopped it up. I'm going to guess and say there's probably about 3 cups of roast here that I put in. I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and I have my leftover potatoes and carrots here that was in my roast. Like I said, here I go with one hand trying to do these things. I really should have gotten my tripod out, but... And all this little yummy stuff here, some of this is like the leftover gravy that I spooned on top of the roast before I put it in the refrigerator, just to, like, when I reheated the roast so it would have some moisture to it. And some of this is the meat trimmings that I don't want to put in there. But I'm going to try to rake as much of this gravy. I probably should have had this done before I started, I guess. Hang on a second. Okay, I have chopped up my carrots and potatoes. Let's see if I can get them in here without my second hand. Okay, I got water on my phone. That was not an intentional zoom. I'm trying to get the water off my phone. Okay, so they're in the pot here. And I'm going to let this come up to a boil. I'm going to add... Okay, I've got a pretty good little bunch of thyme here. Fresh, not fresh, my freeze-dried thyme. Because, I don't know, I think that just sounds like that'd be good. Let's do a little... I'm a random seasoner, too, I'm going to tell you. I just randomly... Let's put some onion powder in. Oh, well, let's spill it in the floor. Oh, there goes the bad back. Screaming when I bend over. Okay, it's getting ready to boil. You could add mushrooms to this. You could add whatever you want. You could throw... I debated on putting in a can of peas, but I think I got enough starch in here, so I'm not going to add the peas today. But something else you could do, which popped in my head just a second ago, you could thicken this up and put it over cornbread like a beef stew. It'd be a perfectly good beef stew. You could just eat it like a soup. But what I think I'm going to do, some of that meat probably should have been cut a little bit smaller, but as it boils, it'll probably break apart. I am going to get a spoon and taste my broth before I go any further. And see what it tastes like. See if it's got enough flavor. Needs a little something. Let's see. Let me think here. What can we add to make it a little bit Well, for one thing, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of salt. Okay, that might not have been a tiny bit, but let's do some pepper. Okay, let's give that a little stir. It doesn't have to cook a long time because, of course, your things are already cooked. I'm trying to think what else would be good in here. It probably would be have a little bit better taste also if I'd have had beef broth. If I'd have had more beef broth, but my jar, I don't think I have any more in the refrigerator. Let me check and see. What we got? That's chicken. No, I don't think I have any more. Oh, wait a minute. Ta-da! Found a jar in the pantry. Hang on one second. Okay, I did add another spoon of the broth, the bouillon to it. It looks a little more beefy now. And I also have got mixed up here. Look how yellow. I added 2 of our nice big country eggs to this, and look how yellow. This is just about 4 cups of flour, self-rising flour. I put 2 eggs in and some water, just enough to make it this, well, and this actually might be a shade dry. Let me add just a little bit. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let me get a ladle here, because I do this a lot when I do my chicken and dumplings. I will add some of my broth, or you can make it strictly with a whole thing of, you know, a container of broth, a can or a box, whatever. I'll have to get it stirred up pretty quick or it'll sit there and cook. Okay, you want it more of this kind of consistency. I don't know what that consistency is, but that's what we got. And then this handy tip I have, like I said, I'm doing things one-handed. I dip my spoon in my hot broth, and then we're gonna make dumplings. I don't know if I told you that or not. We're gonna just drop it off of the spoon. I probably have too much dumpling dough here for what I need. Just roll it off of there, and you need to have your broth rolling, boiling. Okay, I'm gonna turn it down just a tiny bit, because you don't want these to settle on the bottom. You want it to be boiling so it'll pop them back up to the top so they can cook well. Steve's come in now. He could have been my cameraman. Just drop those off of your spoon. Try not to drop them on the stove like I did, or it'll sit there and cook up to concrete. Oop, there's a carrot I missed cutting up. That's okay. No big deal. We're going to drop this in. Like I said, this is just a thrown together experiment. No recipe, just something popped in my head. I do that a lot when I cook. Just whatever strikes me. And Steve's in for some liquid refreshment. L8. Well, early in the morning, 10 o'clock. But I'm just going to keep dropping these in, and then I'm going to cover them up and let them cook for a little bit, and I'll be back to show you what they look like. Okay, here's what we look like when I've got the dumplings in. They're all going to float up to the top. Every once in a while, you just kind of want to rotate them over, just kind of poke them down a little bit so they'll turn, and I need to get a bigger spoon. Sorry. Okay, just kind of push them down in, give them a little stir. After they've, you know, got kind of settled up, you can stir them around. And yes, I do stir my dumplings. Won't hurt them at all. You do need to use self-rising flour because you want them to puff up. These are my favorite kind of dumplings. Steve likes his dumplings rolled out, a thinner dumpling, but this is what I grew up eating, was drop dumplings. And we're going to put a lid on. Let it vent just a little bit or it'll end up bubbling over. It may end up bubbling over anyway. I'm going to turn it down. We're going to let that sit there and cook for a little bit. Okay, here we go. Here's the finished product. I've tasted it. It's really good. The beef is good and tender. Dumplings are fluffy like a cloud. Not really, but you know, they're good. You could thicken this if you wanted to make your gravy a little bit thicker, but I didn't. I like it like this. I like it with a more soupier consistency. Put you a little extra fresh thyme on top. Make it pretty. But there you go. There's a way to use up your leftovers. You know, the price of groceries are just crazy, through the roof crazy. So I feel like we need to, you know, we need to stretch this stuff as far as it'll go. We've already had one meal off of that roast. And with this here, we could probably get, I'd say, another 3 meals off of it. So, I mean, there's just the 2 of us, but if you were feeding a big family, you could probably still get a couple more meals off of this. So, good way to stretch your money, stretch your groceries. Sorry about the crazy video with the one hand thing, but I just decided to spur of the moment to do this morning, and you'll have to give it a try and let me know if you add anything or take anything away or change it up any. Let me know. I'm curious to see variations of it. Let me know how it went. Thanks for coming to visit with us, and we hope you come back and see us soon. God bless.